Every once in a while, our calendars, secular and sacred, converge in a way that makes a rabbi's life easy. And thank God, during my first week on the job here at Central Synagogue, this week's Torah portion offers just such an occasion. For this evening, our faces are still aglow from the coals of yesterday's cookouts and the sparks of last night's fireworks. And this Shabbat, just a day after we celebrated the launch of our nation's rebellion against the British, we read Parshat Korach, the most prominent story of rebellion in the Torah. At the beginning of the Parsha, a Levite man named Korach organizes a band of rebels and approaches Moses and Aaron and challenges them. Rav lachem, you have taken too much. Ki chol ha'eda kula kedoshim, uvetocha Adonai. For all of the community are holy, all of them, and God is in their midst. For all of the community are holy, all of them. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and God is in their midst, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. One wonders if Thomas Jefferson had his Bible open to this passage from the book of Numbers when he penned the Declaration of Independence. For it is self-evident that the truths that Jefferson enumerated in those famous words echo the ideas articulated by Korach in this Torah portion. The problem for us this Shabbat, though, is that the wrong guy says them. Had the words of Korach's revolutionary rhetoric been placed in Moses' mouth, for all of the community are holy, all of them, then my first week on the job would have been even easier, and this Devar Torah would have written itself. But those are not the words of Moses. Those are the words of one of the Torah's great villains. Those are the words of Korach, the words of a man maligned throughout our history, the words of a rebel whose rebellion is literally swallowed into the earth by an act of God. And so we are left here this evening wondering how the same truths that we celebrated yesterday as the founding principles of the country in which we live could be so violently silenced when they are given voice in our Torah. How did Korach get it wrong? How did Jefferson get it right? Let's return for a moment to the beginning of Korach's challenge to Moses and Aaron. Before he says the good stuff about everyone being holy, Korach opens with two words. Rav lachem, you have taken too much. The medieval commentator Rashi explains that here Korach is accusing Moses as prophet and Aaron as high priest of taking too much power for themselves. And Korach has a point. Moses and Aaron have a lot of power, perhaps even too much. But the problem for Korach is that by firing this accusation as the opening salvo of his rebellion, he betrays the fact that he is not in the business of fighting for the holiness of all people. Rather, the animating sentiment behind Korach's animosity is jealousy. Like Moses and Aaron, Korach and his fellow rebels are Levites, belonging to the clerical tribe of the children of Israel, charged with performing religious rituals on behalf of the community. But Korach is not satisfied by this elevated status. Indeed, Moses clearly hears the envious undertones of Korach's seemingly principled challenge. Moses addresses the rebel and his co-conspirators, "Hear me, sons of Levi. Is it not enough for you that the God of Israel has set you apart from the community of Israel? Do you seek the priesthood too?" In other words, Korach, you and your guys aren't hungry for equality. You're hungry for power. Thus, in spite of Korach's high-minded rhetoric, trumpeting the holiness of all people, at its core, his rebellion is founded on nothing more than a family feud. Contrast this with the Declaration of Independence. Our nation's founding document does not begin with an accusation like Korach's. Rather, the Declaration of Independence begins with a declaration of our national values. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is what we believe. This is why we rebel. This is what we are fighting for these truths. Only after stating what they stood for did our founders submit the facts of their grievances against the British to a candid world. Korach was destroyed because he produced but a vain effort to cloak his true intentions in egalitarian rhetoric. Hiding behind his proclamation of the holiness of all people, Korach launched his rebellion to quench the thirst of his envy, to settle a personal grudge. The founders of our country, on the other hand, opened their revolution by declaring revolutionary principles, deriving their just cause from the sacred truth at the heart of the words that Rabbi Ben Azai declared the most important verse in our Torah. Zeh Sefer Toldot Adam. We are all descendants of Adam and Eve, created equal in the image of God. This Shabbat, let us remember the reason for Korach's failure, that the righteousness of our endeavors depends upon the honesty of our intentions. And let us be inspired by the words of our ancestors, both secular and sacred. Shabbat Shalom.